And welcome back, everybody. Brad Radisi here with you, and it's time for our Bulldog Conversation. I'm joined by Dr. Delane Tew, Associate Professor in the Howard College of Arts and Sciences here at Samford. And Dr. Tew, we're talking about an exciting class you have on the horizon in the spring. It's called The Beat Goes On, How the 60s Changed Music, Fashion, Politics, and Everything Else. Tell us a little bit about it. Where did the concept come from?
Well, it's a time period that has always fascinated me. Now, to be honest, I'm actually a little younger. So I wasn't actually a teenager in the 60s, but I was old enough to know fascinating things were going on.
Right.
And when I got to my teenage years, there was sort of this sense of, did I miss it?
Right.
So I've always been interested in studying this time period. When you look at the things that happened in this time period, you've got big movements. Of course, you have Kennedy and the changes that he brought about, and then the upheaval with his assassination that took place. LBJ came into office, and with his Great Society programs, wanting to help end poverty. So some big political movements that ended up then with Nixon being elected. But when you look at the social side of what was going on in America, you have this huge baby boom. All of a sudden, they're teenagers, and the economy is good. Their parents are making money. They're allowing the teenagers to spend money. So you've got this huge group of consumers for the first time coming into society. And it just sort of shakes everybody, not knowing what to do with this group.
Right.
So the music industry begins to change the kind of music that's playing. It's no longer the old big band music of their parents. It's rock and roll, it's rhythm and blues, it's folk music.
Right.
All of this speaking for this new young generation that's so dynamic. And of course, then you have the development of a whole group in society that just decide they don't want what their parents have. They decide that their parents' standards are not their standards. And so we have this counterculture movement where we have, the famous hippies in the bell-bottom pants and the psychedelic flowers on their guitars and long hair for the guys, flowers in their hair for the girls. And it's just a time when everything is questioned. All authority is questioned. Of course, we also see young people who become activists. They're involved in the civil rights movement. They're involved in the anti-war movement. They're involved in places like Berkeley out in California, University of California at Berkeley. There's the free speech movement where the students feel like the university was trying to hamper their political activity. So it's just so much to be involved in at this time.
Just give us a sense of what class will be like. Is it straight history, or is it going to be very involved? Is it just a flavor of it?
Well, the interesting thing about this class is that it's interdisciplinary.
Okay.
Meaning that I will teach it, but also Dr. Mark Baggett in the English department will be team teaching it, co-teaching it. So we want it to be a class that, yes, we talk about the historical chronology of what happens and look into whys and wherefores, but we also want to look into the literature of the time, which includes not just books, but the song lyrics of the time, the TV of the time, the television of the time, movies of the time. So we really want to cover a whole spectrum of what students will experience in the class. So there'll be discussion of historical events. We'll be playing music, listening to music. We'll be watching snippets from television shows. Just use a vast variety of the media we have now available to look back into the 60s.
It sounds fascinating. And for students who are interested, we were talking off air about it being part of the humanities Just explain that so they know exactly where to find it and what it counts for.
Okay, the course is listed as IDHU 201.
Okay.
So it's a little hard to find if students don't know. It's not listed as a history course and it's not listed as an English course. So IDHU 201. And it counts for the humanities requirement in our gen ed curriculum. So it will count as a course for them.
Well, it sounds like an exciting one, that's for sure. Dr. Delane Tew, teaching, we're talking about The Beat Goes On, how the 60s changed music, fashion, politics, and everything else. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, folks, more coming your way right after this. You're listening to the Alabama Power Halftime Show right here on the Samford Sports Network.